everyone, WIHS intern Samuel Shaw here. For today's WIHS Journal, I have an interview with Chaplain and songwriter Tim Garrison. Over the course of the interview, we'll cover both his chaplain and songwriter ministries in depth, including how he began and how we can help support his work. Here's the interview. Hello, Mr. Garrison, and thank you for joining me for today's WIHS Journal. I'd like to start today's interview by asking you to share a little bit about how your ministry began.
Yeah, absolutely can. So personally, I feel like I have a few ministries that are on my radar currently. The first one and the one that I'm dedicating the most amount of time to is the motorsports chaplaincy. I began being a motorsports chaplain in the summer of 2018 with an organization based here in Connecticut called Racing with Jesus Ministries. And from 2018 to 2024, I was a race chaplain at many different tracks and races, motorsport races in the Northeast. And then during the pandemic of 2020, Stafford Speedway with all the restrictions on how many people could attend events and things. They were looking for one steady chaplain every Friday night for their races. And at the same time, I was looking to not travel so far around the Northeast with races. So it was a good match. I spoke with the folks at Racing with Jesus, and I started every Friday being one of the main chaplains for the Stafford races every Friday. And I did that up until the end of last race season, 2024. During 2024, I started sensing a different call in the ministry or a different direction, and that came about through one of the teams at the racetrack. They had expressed an interest of me joining their team. So my current ministry is I'm a race chaplain with the number 9 late model team at Stafford Speedway, and I'm just there. We pray before the races. We make sure people have a place to go for anything in life that they want to talk about. So I'm their team chaplain, but I also will help out wherever needed. I work on the car a tiny bit. I wouldn't say I really work on the car, but if they need something, I'm around. And occasionally I'll head to the race shop. They're based in Bethany, Connecticut. It's Bobby Sturck is the driver, Sturck Motorsports, and they're based in Bethany. So sometimes I'm at the shop, but every Friday I'm at the racetrack with that team. So that's one aspect of the ministry. I'm still involved in songwriting. I've been doing pretty serious songwriting since about 2012. Some people may remember the Connecticut Christian Songwriters Group. That went from about 2014 to 2020. And then the pandemic kind of halted all the churches that were doing Christian coffee houses and concerts. So I still do a lot of songwriting, just keeping that door open to wherever the Lord might lead with worship and gospel and Christian country music. So those are the two main ministries I'm involved with at this time.
Well, thanks for sharing about how you got involved with both the chaplaincy and the songwriting. They both seem like such great ministries. Next up, I'd like to ask you about what caused you to choose these particular outreaches, if you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'll start with the maybe the songwriting one first.
Okay.
I've always been musical. I grew up playing the trumpet in school. My dad was a trumpet player, so I've always been interested in music. Late 90s, I started teaching myself how to play guitar, and that's how I stumbled into the songwriting bit. I did that from the 90s to the early 2000s, just writing whenever I got ideas. And in about end of 2011, 2012, I started really feeling a tug saying, think I should be doing more with this. And I remember praying and giving it to the Lord and saying, all right, Lord, I don't really know what this is all about, but I'm going to commit to getting better at learning the guitar, taking some songwriting courses, studying up on trying to approach it more from a ministry. And I found out that was a perfect match for how my brain works and my creativity. And what drew me into songwriting was probably my family and my dad's, early influence of getting me involved in me playing trumpet. But I think music is one of the gifts the Lord has given me. As far as the race chaplaincy, how I got involved in that was I've always been involved in sports, playing hockey and baseball and golf, even as a kid. Even up to now, I still play golf a lot. I had been asked to help coach a youth hockey team a long time ago, and I was the goalie coach for this youth hockey team. That kind of led, I did that for one season, and that led to me understanding or learning about hockey chaplaincy and sports chaplaincy. I kind of pursued that for a season. It almost worked out, and then it all fell apart. And then I just kind of was doing other things and didn't really think about it for a long time until the summer of 2018 and just some mutual acquaintances and friendships. And I was always into racing, watching motorsports and racing on TV. And I was having a conversation with some friends at church, and one of the gentlemen was already involved with Racing with Jesus Ministries, and I felt like that spark. So that was July of 2018, and I said, I don't know if you know what you really do, but if you need a hand, you need me to help out, I'm available. And that opened the door, and that's what drew me into Racing with Jesus for 5, 6 years, and then just building the relationships with this current race team. That's what drew me into getting a little bit deeper involved in serving with one team versus the entire track.
It's great to hear the stories behind both of those ministries. Now, are there ways that listeners can support either of these pursuits? Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, definitely prayer. First of all, you can pray for me as I'm, especially at the racetrack. Like I said, that's the main ministry. That's the one, at least at this point in my life. I do have a 9 to 5 job, so this is all in addition to that. It's totally volunteer. So just prayer support for driving 70 miles each way to the track each day. We as a race team, we've gone a couple races this year at another track. The desire is to expand beyond Stafford Speedway, hopefully. So just prayer for safety, prayer for, good conversations with the race team, and for me to be able to respond the best way I can as a chaplain and meet their needs. That I think would be the main prayer request. And then I've got social medias and website. If people wanted more information, they could always go out to those areas and look me up and keep up on the current things that are going on with my various ministries.
Now, do you have a specific website that listeners can visit if they would like to learn more about either of these ministries?
Sure. Yeah, it's
Okay.
tgmmgroup.com. So tgmmgroup.com. And then you can see the racing things. You can see some of the mentoring platform that I'm starting for Christian life called Agile ASAP. That has its own Instagram account, but all of those links are on the website.
Okay, great. Now, is there anything else that you'd like to share before we close? Anything that we haven't already covered yet?
Yeah, maybe I just hit on it there about Agile ASAP, and that's a new ministry that I've launched. And what Agile ASAP is, it's a flexible way to focus on serving the Lord. So ASAP stands for always serving a purpose, and that main purpose of how am I going to serve is serving the Lord. What is the Lord doing that He wants me to join Him in? What is the Lord doing that He's calling me to? Using the gifts that God has given each of us, how can I best serve Him and then serve others? So it really is this ministry, this Agile ASAP, is in its infancy. It's right at the ground level. There is a planned curriculum behind it and a framework, but I felt at this time the best way to start was just start it small on Instagram, and there's periodic posts that come out about topical things that we can do as Christians to help and to serve it. The content is not only for Christians, it's not only for churches to use or Christian organizations. It can also be applied in a secular environment, could be applied in a marriage and a family. So lots of topics they're just bite-sized topics. You can go out to Instagram, read it quickly in about 30 seconds, and then maybe think and pray on that during the day. So Agile ASAP is the name of that, and that's something new that I started this year.
Thanks for sharing about that. Seems like another great ministry. Well, thank you, Mr. Garrison, for joining me for today's WIHS Journal. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in today. For WIHS, I'm intern Samuel Shaw.